welcome you to this beautiful museum as well. And we have Jose Valdez-Valley, the chairman, who would like to say a couple of words. Jose, if you can come up, please.
I'd like to welcome you all to the Gables Museum. We're thrilled to be part of this. The Underline is something that we have supported and believe wholeheartedly in, and we're thrilled that we were asked to host this, as it is an honor for us to have you all come here to the museum. I also welcome you to, if you have a chance, to see our exhibits that are going on right now. We have several exhibits that are very interesting. One of them is, I'll start with the Dorothy Thompson exhibit. That is, she was the first mayor of Gables, the first woman mayor of Gables. And she was very effective, and we have an exhibit. Next, we also have an exhibit of Edouard Duvaz-Carrier. He is a Haitian and has wonderful, wonderful work. Beautiful exhibit. And we also have the photography of Raul de Molina from the 80s, which some of you have been long-term residents of Miami will find very interesting photos of things that happened in the beginning of the 80s. Well, we welcome you, and we're thrilled to have you here. Thank you.
Actually, let me go through the guidance. We're going to have 3 lines, and we're going to go through the introductions. We're going to talk about the project information. We're going to have a Q&A session, and after that, you're going to get little dots, and we're going to put them all over these wonderful posters. So, all right. So, I would like to introduce Florida State Senator District 8, Alexis.
Hey everybody, my name is Alexis Calagayan, your newly elected state senator. I'm so excited about the incredible dynamic work that the Underline has been moving forward in our community, in our counties, in Chamberlain, in Tallahassee. I'm here to do that work as well. I'm so excited for the incredible work that we're going to see today and how our participation and our voice helps shape this process. Thank you.
Very much. So we have our commissioner, and Gables Commissioner District 7, Commissioner Vega.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you all for coming out on a Saturday morning. We're so excited about phase 3 of the Underline. So I see some familiar faces. Some of you were actually with us earlier this week. So thank you for coming back. Don't double vote. Okay? I know the deal. But for those of you who don't know the history of the Underline, you'll be hearing a little bit about it later on. But obviously, phase 1 was in Commissioner Higgins' district, which was in Brickell, and is really showing an enormous amount of use. Everything that Meg predicted turned out to be true, even in a tiny little space. So it really has been the center of our Brickell community, and we're so excited for phase 2. Phase 2 caused us a little bit of heartache. We learned a lot. And for those of you who followed that process, we're very excited about the infrastructure investment that we're making in phase 2. So it's not just about the activities, the community, the wonderful space, but also about the infrastructure piece, and I'm sure they'll be talking about that. And then we get to phase 3. So you're not supposed to have favorites, but I am actually a neighbor of phase 3, so I do have a favorite. I'm actually 2 blocks from this part of the Underline. So I did vote at the last meeting, but I won't vote again. But for those of you that don't know the story, really quickly, Meg is the brainchild of this amazing project. And she broke her arms and had to go to therapy, not a therapist. And in so doing, walked around the bottom, of Metro Rail and thought, wouldn't this be amazing if it was something other than a scary place to walk through? And so she birthed the Underline. So shout out for giving us so much support. We joke in Miami that we have architects of bad ideas and architects of good ideas. Her dad was an architect of good ideas. So everything that he worked on really has enhanced our community, and we miss him very much. But he also gave us Meg, who will speak a little bit later about this process. But this is such a unique project. Number one, because it's been done on time and on budget for you. Also, Meg was able to get so much support at the federal level and at the state level, and that's why we're grateful to have our state partners here. You know, Tallahassee is a complicated place, and there's very few things that the entire delegation supports. This is one of those things. There is not one member of our delegation that does not support it. It is a bipartisan labor of love, Meg. That's what it is. It proves that people in Tallahassee at the city level and at the state level really can work together. Our city partners in the city of Miami have helped, and they have been wonderful, and our Gables partners have been wonderful. So we thank them for their support. And obviously at the county, we love this project. Our staff is here. It is one of our number one priorities. We're so excited about what this is going to bring to our communities. And for those of you who, like me, grew up here, you remember Miami-Dade County before the behemoth of 95 that separated our community. So one of the things that the Underline does so beautifully is unite us in so many different ways. So we're very excited about that. We can't wait to hear your feedback. Usually at the county, we plan and impose it on you. This project, Meg asked us to do something very different, and that is to look to you all for our ideas and then plan. So thank you for being here, for being part of this process. And finally, thank you to Meg for all her love, dedication, and time. We always apologize to her family for all the time that everyone has taken away from them. I love you, Meg. I love you, Meg. I love you, Meg. Thank you for coming.
Here, our own deputy director, Jose Enrique.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Miami-Dade County's Department of Transportation and Public Works, we'd just like to thank everyone for being here, for the participation. We're the department that will take this project forward in terms of construction and administering throughout, so we look forward to these public meetings, gaining the input in the design process, and through our project team, it was wonderful effectuating the best project possible. Our department is a provider of mobility solutions, and our vision is to be the best provider of transportation solutions in the world. And when we say transportation solutions, we don't only think of our roads and our bridges and our metro rail and metro mover, which are critically important. We also think of pedestrian and bicycle mobility, and that's what this project is about. We'd like to take this opportunity to share with you that thanks to the support that we have at the county, our Commissioner Regalado, and others, our capital program at Miami-Dade Department of Transportation and Public Works is robust, and we will have many other projects and programs like this for bicycle and pedestrian mobility and for safety in the future. So again, thank you for being part of the process. Thank you for your support. If not for you, for these amazing partners, Meg, the Underline, and others, these projects would not be possible. So thanks.
Founder and CEO of Underline.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you so much, Commissioner. I just feel so overwhelmed being here today. This has been an 8-year journey that we've all enjoyed together. And I want to give you all a round of applause for showing up, to speak up, and to support this project. Can you do that? Give yourself a round of applause. I love you guys. So going back 8 years, did any of you attend a master plan meeting? Raise your hands. Okay, keep your hands up. What about the meeting for phase 1 at Southside Elementary? Keep your hands up, everybody, keep your hands up. We had an exhibition here at Coral Gables Museum 7 years ago. Did you come to that? Okay. Is this your first time attending an Underline meeting? Okay, everybody's hand should now be up at this time. That was the idea. we created this movement. We created a movement with incredible partners from the county, from the state, the federal level, as well as the city of Miami and Coral Gables, to build a place that our kids could walk and bike safely, right? So we can be with community, so we can convene with nature. And I really want to say thank you for sharing that journey with me and for this entire community. Today, I just want to remind you, this is not a project of one person. This is all of us, everyone here, because you all raised your hands, participated in the vision of this project. And today you're going to do that again. We want to see what you want on the underline. But I do want to, for my friend Harry Gottlieb, I want to assure him the standards of this project, 2 trails, lighting, nature, planting, all of that is standards. It's bulletproof. And you guys did that work with us. We're going to be talking about the amenities area. And as Alex says in the back of the room, he goes, this is the fun stuff. So please have fun with us today. I hope you enjoy your Saturday. I came ready for a party. Let's go.
She's the Department of Transportation Public Works Chief of Transportation Enhancements and Special Projects, and the lead for this wonderful project.
Thank you. So as you can see, I'm Irene Megadas, and the lead for the project for Miami-Dade County. I would like to also thank once again all of you for taking time out of your busy schedule and being here with us and contribute to the project. Your commitment and dedication is just amazing. I also would like to thank the Coral Gables Museum for lending us the space. And this, to put a presentation like this, it takes a great deal of effort, preparation, and coordination. So we would like to thank DPW staff, the Underline staff, obviously the museum, MB2A group, and James Corner Field Operations. Having said that, it's been a long journey. So almost 2 years to get here for the procurement of this important phase, our last phase. But after this journey, I am delighted to announce that your design builder is comprised of of the MB2A group in joint venture with Central and James Corner Field Operations, the designer. All 3 firms have a very long-standing relationship with Miami-Dade County. Is one of the things where the involvement, this is last phase, so it is the longest one. So we have worked really hard. For those of you that are not aware of the project or are new to the project, back in 2015, the master plan took place. Isabel Castilla and Alejandro Williams, Border Field Operations, led that effort together with Megan and her group. And we had over 120 public meetings, and that developed all of these standards for the project. They also were the designers for phase 1, which is half a mile. It goes from the Miami River all the way to Southwest 13th. Who is familiar with the Brittle Backyard? Raise your hand. Let me see. This is awesome. We are under construction now for phase 2, and we expect that project to be completed sometime in the fall of 2023, hopefully earlier, perhaps in July, we don't know yet. But this project is the longest phase, it's 7.36 miles, and it's going to go all the way from Southwest 19th Avenue all the way down to Bayland South, East and Right facility. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Isabel Castilla so she can move forward with the presentation.
Thank you, Irene, and thank you everyone for coming. I acknowledge there's a lot of people standing in the back. We do have a couple of single seats interspersed with the crowd, so don't be shy, make a new friend, sit down, but I will also try to be as fast as possible in acknowledgement of all of those standing back there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to speak a little about the
project, so you understand the framework of what we are about to begin to design. We will have a Q&A session following my presentation. When you arrive, you are given a blank index card with a pen. Please fill out any questions or comments you may have and pass it on to a volunteer. Can the volunteers raise your hand so people know who you are? Please come forward. It's important that people recognize you. We have Patrice over there. We have Jake over there. And back all the way over there. So please, as you come up with questions, any concerns, pass them on. They will be gathering those. So following the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session. And then after that, the most exciting part, you will be able to let us know what you think and what you want for the project using the boards that you see on either side, as well as the maps all the way in the back. You'll see the boards already have some stickers and comments on them. That is from Thursday's meeting. We want to be able to collect everybody's comments, so don't be influenced by those or be influenced by those. It's good to know where the community coincides versus where the community does want different things for the different portions of the Underline. Okay, so to start describing the project, what is the Underline? The Underline is transforming the land below Miami's Metro Rail into a 10-mile-long linear park, urban trail, and public art destination. Why are we here today? Why did you all take off a couple of hours of your Saturday to join us on this room? We are here because, as we mentioned by the many people that gave you a welcome to the meeting, is that we're about to embark on the design of Phase 3. And this is important that I make a big point of this. We're about to begin designs. We have not begun any designs. And that's on purpose, because we want to hear from you first. We want to understand what are your aspirations for the project, as well as your concerns, and be able to use that as the basis for design. But there's a couple of items that we do know that I want to talk to you about today. As you all are aware, Phase 1 was completed, Phase 2 is underway, and we're really here to talk about Phase 3, which is 7.36 miles long, starting from Southwest 19th Avenue to Dayland Boulevard. So it's a green area that you see on this map. And it will cross over 6 metro rail stations, the Coconut Grove Station, Douglas Station, University Station, South Miami Station, Dayland North, and Dayland South. We began this project back in 2015. I myself started in April 2015, so it's been a long journey. But through that process, over the course of 6 months, we developed a framework plan which established the goals of the project, those elements that will be consistent across the 10 miles of the work. We then, in 2016, started design for the first phase, which I also led, and it opened in February of 2021, a really important moment during the pandemic where people needed open space the most. We began construction for Phase 2, which is currently underway, and if you see on the bottom of this image where we are, we're about to begin those designs for Phase 3. The project will be built in pieces, but we do hope that the whole 10 miles will be completed by 2026. What are the initial steps that we take before we design? Again, we have not begun design work. First and foremost, we are doing a site review and survey. So myself, along with our team of designers, engineers, and design builders, walked between Thursday and yesterday the entire 7.36 miles. So we would note down all of the different details of the project, what is consistent throughout, what is different, how intersections are challenging, and how each one is different, and how we can apply designs to make sure that we can create a safe environment for all of you. We will also be doing an assessment of all of the existing trees. So if you look on the corridor and you see some people measuring trees, looking closely at trees, those are our arborists. They will be evaluating the health of all of the existing trees to make sure that we can keep as much of them, if not all of them, that are healthy and that will contribute to create a greener environment, while also supplementing the project with new trees. And we'll also be listening to you, which is what we're doing here, to understand again what are your concerns and priorities for the project. We will be having 3 public meetings total. The first one is the one that we're having today, where it's about listening. After that, we're going to go back to our offices and come up with some ideas, draw up some designs, and come back to you in about 3 to 4 months' time to share those initial ideas. At that moment, you're going to see how some of the feedback you gave us has made its way into a design, but it's still a young design. Again, with the thought that we want to hear from you if we hit the mark, if there are things that you're really excited about, or things that perhaps are not working as well and we need to work on a little bit more. And then after that, we will finalize the designs, we will obtain permitting for construction, and we will come back to you again, not just to show you the final designs and what you will see in the future, but also to thoroughly discuss the construction schedule, how you will be affected, when things are going to be closed, and when are they going to be open again. Because construction does take some time, but we do want to make sure you're all well informed so that the disruption is minimal, but that you also have opportunities to know where to call, where to ask questions, so you remain informed through the whole course of construction. Why is your opinion important? Why is it important that you are here today? Back in 2015, when we started this project, we did a very similar meeting. And if you look at these photos and you look around the room, it looks very similar, right? This is where we started to ask you about your aspirations for the project. We had maps where we asked people what they wanted to see. We had boards very similar to these with different questions, again, to establish what were the main priorities for the Underline. And these were the results of those boards. You'll notice they all have dots of different colors. Each color represents a city, very similar to what we're going to do today. And what we wanted to do out of this process is to understand, where do all the citizens of Miami-Dade coincide? What are those elements that everybody wants out of the project? Versus where do they not coincide? Where does a city like Coral Gables perhaps favor pickleball courts, which we heard before, or dog parks, versus maybe South Miami wants something more of a contemplative garden or butterfly gardens? So we really want to understand those differences again, so we can provide near your neighborhood, near your house, the best possible amenities for the project. Back in 2015, this is what you told us. You favored ecology and habitats, you wanted arts and culture, and you wanted fitness and health. You also wanted to use the Underline in various ways, whether it was to do a leisurely bike ride or whether it was to commute by bike. And it was that information, those priorities, that set what are the main elements of the Underline today. To create a safe, multimodal transportation corridor, to introduce nature, and to create a sense of community. And how do we do that? Safety. We will continue having dedicated biking and walking paths, add lighting along the entire corridor, and improve all of the crosswalks and intersections, which we know are very, very important for you today. This is a diagram of what will be the bones of the project, having planting on either side to create buffers from US 1 and other adjacent roadways, and creating a 10-foot wide bike path lined by a 2-foot wide shoulder on either side for a total of 14 feet in width, and a dedicated pedestrian path for a total of 12 feet in width. We will also be planting a lot of new planting, new trees, new palms, shrubs, vegetation, all local native vegetation inspired in the local communities of South Florida. So this can become a true South Florida ecological corridor crossing through Miami-Dade. And we also want to create a sense of community. We want to connect people to their environment and to each other. And this is the idea behind some of these boards, to understand what are those spaces that will allow you to connect to your community, meet new friends, and enjoy the Underline. Now, we did the same process back in 2015 with the Brickell Backyard. And I want to show you how that process worked because I want to make sure you trust us that this is something that we will do for you. We will listen to you. Back in 2015, through the series of exercises that we had, we asked people what they wanted to see at Brickell. And we got some great ideas. Some people wanted a basketball court. Guess what? We have one. Some people wanted Brickell to be the Brickell's living room and civic space. That is what led to the idea of calling it the Brickell Backyard, the backyard for all of those residents at Brickell. So we took these ideas and we created some initial designs, and we came back to the community with this, which are the schematic drawings. You have the plans of what Brickell, we were planning for Brickell along with renderings, and we asked the community again, what do you think about this? What do you love? What could we improve? What are we missing? And this is what we will do with you when we come back in about 4 months' time. Out of this process came a lot of things. There were things that people didn't love, and we rearranged them. There were things we didn't think about. For example, creating a path for kids from Southside Elementary to get to Southside Park, and we incorporated it. So that is why your feedback is important. So we can design a project that really fits your needs as a community. That in turn led to the transformation of Gables, and I want to show you this because it always fills me with joy to see how much work we were able to do. On the top layer of images, you see what Gables used to look like, this underutilized space underneath the metro rail, and on the bottom, how we transformed it, with the river room all the way in the north, providing access to the river and views to the river, the urban gym in the middle, a great space where we always see a lot of people playing basketball and soccer, the promenade, a great space to sit, but also an area that Friends of the Underline programs with activities, concerts, activities for kids. Again, a true center of the community. Moving along, other places of the promenade that now provide very comfortable seating for those waiting for buses and trolleys underneath the shade of the metro rail. The Fern Room, one of the most recent installations, only a few weeks ago, with an interactive piece of art that really enlivens this space underneath the station. And the Underline Room, where we have dedicated bike paths that create safe crossings across Coral Way. But perhaps most importantly is that after being open for close to 2 years, the Gables backyard has created a new sense of community. There's people that visit it every day, that use it every day, and people that come from really far away, as far as Hialeah and Miami Beach, just to enjoy some of the events that happen here. That is what we want to bring to you, to Coral Gables, to South Miami, to cities along the South, the same sense of community in your own city and your own backyard. So to speak a little bit about Phase 3, as I mentioned, it will be 7.36 miles long, going from Southwest 19th Avenue to Dayland Boulevard. And it will cross 4 areas. City of Miami, we have coded here in yellow. And as you'll notice on the boards, those residents of City of Miami will be using a yellow sticker to identify themselves. We then have Coral Gables, coded here in green. Again, you'll be handed a green sticker to identify your community. South Miami in blue, and Dayland in pink. We will be dividing the project into 7 segments. What this means is that these segments, basically, there's an amount of money that has been allocated to them, and what that will do is it will allow us to permit the project in pieces and build it in pieces. So we can deliver the first segment as soon as possible and open it as soon as possible. So you're not waiting for 7.5 miles to be built. We will be opening as we go through, so you can enjoy the Underline as soon as possible. So the City of Miami will be divided into 2 segments, segments 3 and 4. Coral Gables will be divided into 3 segments, segment 5, 6, and 7, again with the idea to bring your improvements as soon as possible. South Miami, segment 8, and Dayland, segment 9. This doesn't mean we're going to build in this order. We're likely going to build a little bit here and there, maybe 3, then come 7, then come 6. Well, the point again is that we are opening the project for you to enjoy as fast as you can. Along the project, we're going to continue having 1 dedicated bike path and 1 dedicated pedestrian path. We will improve 24 intersections across this area. We know they're all extremely challenging today, and we do want to hear from you. What makes them challenging, and what could we do to make them safer? And we're also going to have 14 unique spaces, which we call amenities. And those are these dots that you see here. And that is where we're going to have funding to introduce something else beyond the paths. Is it a basketball court? Is it a pickleball court? Is it a dog park? We don't know yet. And that's what we want to find out today as we talk to you. To explain a little bit how this will work, here we have a zoomed-in version of an aerial photo of the City of Miami, and you see on the top right where Phase 2 ends and Phase 3 begins. City of Miami will be divided into 2 segments, segment 3 and segment 4, and will include Coconut Grove Station and Douglas Station. Within that area, we're going to have one amenity, one very long amenity, which we call Amenity A, which we're thinking will be a great place for markets and events. And this is located more or less in front of the Daily Bread Marketplace. I'm sure you all recognize where that is. That's a space that's very urban and a space that really lends itself to the program with farmers markets, with perhaps food venues, festivals. So we want to understand what kind of events would you like to see there, and if this area should incorporate something else beyond that. We know there's a lot of new residential spaces. Do we need dog parks? Do we need areas for running? What else do we need in this particular place of the neighborhood? Then moving on to your city of Coral Gables. The Coral Gables section will start at the Douglas Station, moving south by Alice Rodriguez Park, that's where it ends. And it will include the Douglas Station, Metro Rail Station, along with the University Station. And again, we'll be split into 3 segments, segments 5, 6, and 7. We are going to have a lot of opportunity here in Coral Gables. We're going to have 9 amenity spaces. So I'm going to run you through them from top to bottom. The first thing you'll notice is that we have pink circles and orange circles. What that means is that the pink circles are areas that we understand are a little more urban, a little bit more, there's a lot more commerce happening around them, and they could potentially afford to have spaces that are a little bit louder, like a dog run, which you may not want to have next to your house, for example. We do have then the orange amenities, which could be quieter. They could be gardens, they could be spaces for rest, they could be spaces for exercise. Again, localized in those neighborhoods that are a little bit lower density and quieter. Again, in respect to your neighbors. So what will we have at Coral Gables? Starting from the top, amenity B. This is right by the Brazilian consulate near the Douglas Station. We see this as a potential plaza with a lot of activity. Again, great space, great series of neighborhoods around it that we want to activate. Moving further down, around Southwest 42nd Avenue, we have a proposed dog run. This is right across the street from one of the animal clinics, from a dog grooming space. There's a lot of new residential areas. I saw yesterday 5 dogs being walked around the area at the same time, so we know there's a strong need for this here. What are the opportunities to have another one somewhere else? We want to hear from you. Then, right by the Gables Fire Department, right behind it, we're going to have another amenity, amenity D, which we're considering will be a flexible open space. And we want to know what should we put there to activate that area. How would the residents use that space? Moving further along, around the Gables Waterway, we will be building a new bridge. And we also want to learn from you what happens there today. We know there's a kayak lounge. How has it been used? And how can we improve the area for further uses? Further down the line, we have one of the widest areas of the corridor. It already has beautiful trees, a really wide space. We think that would be a great area to incorporate even more planting and create a series of gardens that provide a backyard to everybody in Coral Gables. So we'll have amenity F, G, and H. They could all be similar, or they could all be different. And again, we want to hear from you on that. Moving along, closer to University Station, we have amenity I. And this one you notice is pink because this is getting closer to the station, closer to UM. We see this would be a great place for a little more activity, perhaps an area for concerts or events or something like that. By University Station, we see a gap in amenities. Those are the current parking lots. They will be reorganized slightly to make sure that the bike path and the pedestrian path can move freely through there and safely, but the parking lots will remain. And then as we move to the edge between Coral Gables and South Miami, we'll have one last amenity around 57th Avenue. Moving further south, if there's people here from South Miami, we have segment 8 encompassing the city of South Miami. And in this area, we're going to have one amenity, amenity K, which is a flexible open space located in front of the South Miami Library and City Hall. This space is great, guys. It has amazing trees and amazing topography, but we just don't see it today because it's full of overgrown flora. So we will be cleaning it up, really sprucing up those streets and celebrating them. But we also should add something else where you can actually go there and enjoy those streets and sit there, maybe take a book out of the library. So again, we want to know what can we do there to make the space inviting. And then, last but not least, at Dayland, we have segment 9, encompassing the areas around Dayland North and Dayland South Station. And here we're going to have 3 more spaces. Amenity L, which is located between Southwest 80th Street and 67th Avenue. This we envision as a space with a series of gardens, but we don't know what type of garden. Do we want butterfly gardens? Do we want birdhouses? Pollinator hotels? How can we make this into not just a great space for you to visit, but maybe for our friends, butterflies and bees and birds to visit as well? And then between Dayland North and Dayland South Station, this is where the corridor becomes the widest ever, where the columns of the Metro Rail are really separated. We're going to have 2 amenities, one dedicated to art and one dedicated to sports, because this is the one area where we can really fit quite a lot. So again, let us know what kind of sports would you like to see, what's going to make you actually come all the way down here and really utilize the Underline. So, moving on to the fun part of the meeting. These are images of the boards that you see on either side. We have two types of boards, so please pay attention because we want to make sure you know how to use them. The first one is going to ask you about spaces, that is the one over here. And the question is, what types of spaces would you like to see in each of these amenities? Do we need spaces for pets? And there's a variety of different spaces, ranging from a fenced-off dog park to areas for relief of pets to go out and do their business. Please don't knock out the boards though, because that will make our activity even more interactive. Okay, moving on. Fitness. What kind of fitness would you use? Do you want a running track? Do you want an exercise station? Sports. We have beach volleyball, basketball, pickleball, racquetball. Which one of these would you use the most, or which one is a really bad idea and we should not even think about? Let us know, please. Other extreme ideas, rollerblading, climbing, pump track, or skate parks. Let us know what you want. What kind of art would you like to see on the Underline? What kind of natural spaces, types of seating, activities for kids, and areas for potential games like watching courts. In the last meeting, we got a whole group of people here really excited about the potential watching courts. We then have a second board located over there, and this is about programmed activities. What kind of activities would you like to see on the Underline? These are things that Friends of the Underline will be programming to activate the space. Should they concentrate on arts and culture? Maybe some salsa dancing classes or tango dancing classes. Why not, right? Spaces for families and kids. Performances, concerts, spoken word, nature. Would you like to play in the dirt and help with the gardens? Would you like to learn about the native plants that we're including? What type of festivals? How can we create a space where the community can celebrate their culture, or where you can adopt a pet, or go to the farmer's market? Food. We are trying to find out, this is not something we have at Brickell, can we incorporate successful food venues here? And are they happening on the weekend or throughout the week? And fitness. We already know fitness is very popular at Brickell. What else can we do along the rest of the Underline to continue serving in the community? So with that, we're going to move into a Q&A session right now. I believe we have quite a lot of cards here, so thank you for filling them out. And I'm going to ask to the front for Meg and Irene to come over, along with Luis Arditi, our Director of Construction, so we can answer those questions. Following that, we will hand out stickers and we will continue all the fun. So thank you very much.
So we'll start with the first question.
One last thing. I don't want to lose you guys. At the end of the meeting, we're also going to flash a QR code on the screen. There's also a QR code with the boards back there. We have an online survey as well, so please make sure you scan it. So you can also let us know your thoughts on the survey. We're asking different questions from the ones here, so very important that you participate on all elements.
Okay, so the first question is, what are you going to be doing for people with disabilities?
Okay, first question. What are we doing for people with disabilities? Sorry, if everybody can just quiet down. We want to make sure we're hearing everybody out and everybody hears each other as well. So the first question is, what are we doing for people with disabilities? I think this is a fantastic question. When we design public spaces, it's important we think of people with all abilities. People that are disabled, that have different ways of moving, and that's not just people in a wheelchair, it could be people in a walker, it could be people that walk slower than others. Specifically at intersections, this is something we're going to take in mind. We know some intersections, the light changes too fast, and people that walk a little slower or have disabilities are not able to cross. So that is something we are keeping in mind. All of the spaces will be accessible, completely accessible. But beyond that, we also want to make sure that other abilities or disabilities are acknowledged. When we create gardens, we want to make sure they have a sense of, they have sense, so that those that perhaps are visually impaired can still enjoy the natural space. We want to make sure the spaces, by incorporating music, by incorporating performances, can also be inclusive to those that are visually impaired, so that there is, again, inclusivity within the community. So, on board, everything we design is always inclusive and always takes care of everybody with all kinds of abilities, physical abilities, and we will ensure the design of the project will continue doing that. If there's a particular concern you have with intersections today, we do want to hear that. Why intersections are difficult to maneuver for people with different abilities, so that we can take that into account in the design. The maps that we have in the back are the perfect place to do that. So take a marker and show us, Southwest 57th Street, I can barely make it across the cross line. We really need to know that.
Just really quick, at Rico Backyard, they've had some amazing programming for neurodiverse children and adults, so we're gonna incorporate that also. So they've actually been very successful with centered events. Just wanted to mention that.
Okay, so the next question, we've got lots of questions around the canoe launch. First off, are you going to build it at the same time, and what are you going to do so people can live with the users as they come?
Okay, so questions?
Go ahead.
What is the question? The question is around the kayak lounge around the Gables waterway. What are we doing?
Okay, so the kayak lounge is not part of the Underline program. This is something that the Parks Department is in charge of. What we have done is that we have coordinated the area and the preliminary sketch indicating how the kayak was going to work. It is all about funding at this point. The Parks Department was ready to actually engage the designer, but they have run into some funding gaps. Once the funding is in place, we already have an interdepartmental agreement between the Parks Department and the Department of Transportation and Public Works, because this is our land. Also, for Gables, the city of Gables has been involved in all of the discussions on how to reconfigure the space. But until the funding is available, there's nothing that we're going to be doing in that area. What is very important to us is that we need to maintain safety. So the entrance to the kayak lounge, where it is right now, is not safe. So the plan is to invert the location and provide for a new non-motorized vessel entrance on the south side, right next to Ponce de Leon. The city of Gables very nicely offered some of the right away to create parallel parking, and we are going to have a drop-off area that you can go right into the lounge. However, it's all about funding, and it is not part of the Underline. What we have done is that we have created the entrance on Riviera Drive, move really close to US 1, so the bridge, the pedestrian bicycle bridge that Isabel mentioned before, is going to be adjacent to US 1, allowing you for all the space for the kayak lounge.
Okay, a lot of questions about a skate park or outdoor roller rink.
Okay, so some questions about a skate park and outdoor roller rink. So if you look on the boards, I believe right over here, those are the questions we're asking you. On the very top, would you like to see a roller rink? On the very bottom, would you like to see a skate park? You'll see the skate park already has a lot of votes from our meeting on Thursday, and a lot of votes from almost every area that we're touching. So this is going to be a difficult one to locate. But again, if it's something that you really want, please let us know, and we'll work to see what we can do to make it happen.
The next question is about landscaping. What is the total cost of initial landscaping, and what's the annual budget for landscaping?
So, such a great question. We do not know the answer to in front of you. But what I would say is that we're investing on a lot of landscaping because we want to make sure the space feels welcome. We want to make sure there's a lot of shade. We know trees also drown out the noise from the adjacent roadway, again making the space feel more comfortable for recreational uses. All the plants that we'll be incorporating are native or adapted, so they are good for the space. They will not compete with other plants. We're also selecting plants that are good habitat formers for birds, butterflies, bees, all things that are really important to ensure our ecology continues to thrive. We haven't designed anything yet, as I mentioned originally, so that's why we do not know what the cost is. However, on the next round of meetings, we'll have a better sense of where we stand with the amount of landscaping and the cost.
Okay, the next question.
I just want to add one thing. Has anybody attended one of our Day in the Dirt events? Okay, great opportunity to take care of our plants. We have corporate sponsors, we have individuals. Every month we come out in their whole backyard, do replantings, weedings, and a lot of that cost So if you have a corporation who loves plants, you can talk to us.
Okay, the next question is about connections to Coconut Grove, Bahamian heritage, or African American heritage, and could there be better amenities that connect to these communities?
Thank you. That is a great question and something we acknowledge that we do have many different communities of many different heritages lying in the Underline and something we want to incorporate. Around Coconut Grove, as I mentioned, we do have Amenity A, which is our events gallery. This is a very long space that can be a great space to display the cultural heritage that we have around neighborhoods in Coconut Grove and along the Underline. We have several ways to do this. We have an arts program where local artists from different communities can apply and see artwork through the county, and that is a great way to celebrate that community. We also will have columns that have information, historical information about the communities that lie in the Underline, and again, we will incorporate that within that neighborhood. And lastly, if you see on one of the boards, we do have a photo of one of those festivals, again, in acknowledgement of the various communities that lie in the project. So if we can do something else beyond what I mentioned, beyond art, beyond informational signage, beyond providing space for events, do let us know. We want to make sure the Underline is inclusive for all of those that live and inhabit the area around them.
Okay, we received a lot of questions about the safety at intersections, so I'm just reading one, but know your questions being represented. What best practices and national standards will you follow to make sure intersections are safe to cross for all people of all ages and abilities?
So that's a multi-departmental question, right? So first and foremost, we are working with FDOT, and we have been very successful and learned a lot at Gables. So you would be hard pressed to find intersections that are more congested than the ones that you all have at Gables. But at the TPO, we've already been working on specifically this corridor. So Mayor Cora Gables and I co-sponsored an item that is studying exactly what's happening in that corridor, and we're also looking at all the different intersections. We are going to be adding a South Miami pedestrian bridge and potentially a Dadeland pedestrian bridge to the new FDOT plan, so stay tuned for that. Pedestrian bridges have been very hit or miss in Miami-Dade County, but the county is currently redoing the one at 37th Avenue in their agreement with Platform. And one of the things that we've been talking about over the last 2 years is on the need for pedestrian bridges now that we are activating the Underline. So in the past, the idea has been it's a big investment with not a lot of use. In this case, we really want to give people access. And that area has changed a lot, and there's a lot of congestion, a lot more traffic. So that's coming up, at the TPO, and I'm also bringing an item that will have the Welcome Trail Underline connector, and that's also going to have a huge, pedestrian piece of it because it's a very dense area. So, but really, with the actual information on the intersections and whether we're going to do crosswalks or what we're studying, I don't know if you all have seen it. It's actually right near this it's Cora Gables, Miami-Dade County, and South Miami intersection on 57th Avenue. We have a pilot there that's called the Scramble. So the crosswalks are hit or miss. Not everybody stops. I don't know if you've noticed that. So it's a thing here. Sometimes they see yellow, they think go faster. It's very concerning for us. So we're testing it out in District 7 at that intersection, and what the scramble means is everything turns red, and you can move in any direction around the intersection. So that's one of the things that we're considering for these denser areas, and we actually have a scramble project in Brickell near the Underline that's also been very successful. So we're almost at the end of that, of the TPO study phase. So once we all decide what we're doing, when we go to the planning phase, then we'll look intersection by intersection and decide based on what they're putting there, what is, the best, for the county and FDOT to approve.
Okay, on a lighter note,
So we have 24 intersections on this space. We are working with FDOT. They have a work program where where they start improving all of the intersections on US 1. Every single time that they come in and they have an intersection that affects the underline, they call us, they send us the drawings, we have meetings, we coordinate, and then we decide how much work each activity is gonna do versus how much the underline needs to improve. There are some times where they're improving the entire intersection for us, and there are times where they're partial improvement, but at least we know our scope of work. So, and all of the improvements on our path are following the safety requirements for the master plan that was actually established by James Former and the community.
Okay, and then on a lighter note, we've heard this before, lots of people want more pickleball courts.
Pickleball seems to be becoming very, very popular here in Miami. We're excited. We have a lot of skate park, a lot of pickleball, and a lot of bocce. So don't be deterred by the amount of stickers we have there. Just put stickers on top of stickers so we can make it happen.
Okay, the next question is, how will the Metro Rail and the Underline interact?
How will the Metro Rail and the Underline interact?
Okay, so along the entire underline, the 10 miles, we have 8 metro rail stations. Every single station is being incorporated into the underline, it's not the other way around. So what we're doing is that, if you notice, all our metro rail stations also have bus terminals and it has trolleys. So it's critical for us that the underline has multimodal corridor being integrated into all of those facilities. For most of the stations, what you're gonna notice is that the pedestrian paths are separated, right approaching the station. The pedestrian path will be diverted running from the station by bus terminals, while the bicycles, which are typically traveling 15 to 80 miles an hour, will remain between the station and US 1. Now, those parts, when we approach the station, if the bicycle wants to go right onto in front, because it wants to go take a trolley, or wants to put a bicycle on the train, they will have a carriage path to do that. So it is fully integrated. We're also looking at smart signage that it will allow you, as you're traveling through the US 1, to see the ETAs for our various buses or trains departing. We will give you maps of the underline and the events and activities that are going to take place. So those are some of the initiatives.
I'll add one thing. Even though we're not in the planning phase of phase 3, they have been working with the county on the station projects that we have. So that we have been doing, and we have Grove Station and 27, so we've been working with them in the Underline to see how that works. And we have Link, right, at 37 that I mentioned has platform and Link on the side, and that actually has a county building, water and sewer right there, and it's a very interesting project. The Lions just had their soft opening, and when you walk around that side, you'll see, right, the ingress and egress that we've been working on with the Underline. That one's interesting because it is a transit hub. And then we have the South Miami one, we have phase 1, we're working on phase 2, and I know that one's taking up a lot of your time too with the going around that project. And then at Dateland, we do have a pilot that's been very successful with scooters, so we're very excited about that. It's been a labor of the scooter project. So you'll be seeing a lot of changes around the downtown Dateland piece when we get there, because the scooters are geo-fenced, and we have a series of guidelines that restricts their speed as they get to certain areas so that they do not have a problem with pedestrians. So it's been a very thoughtful project, and we're watching it closely because we have been talking about expanding it. So they have already been working on the news, is what we call them, like at the station, but we have to figure out the ingress and egress on the other spots.
Okay, so the next question is about construction. Actually, it's a recommendation. Please set the bar extremely high for closing any lanes of US 1. So what are you going to do about that?
Well, absolutely. Before we do have any closures or we work in any interaction with traffic, what we would do is a specific safety setup that will get approved and run with the authorities. We normally would retain also police officers that would help them do those closures. So no interaction with the traffic would happen without a pre-approved specific safety plan for that specific occasion.
Guys, so one thing I forgot to mention, he knows very well, is that what we call is the MOT, so maintenance of traffic. So as they develop the maintenance of traffic, and we already have a very good idea of what that's gonna be, we go in with our advocacy groups, and we actually take the route, and we videotape it and document it. Because we as designers sometimes, not as a cyclist, will have an issue with a left turn. Or the neighborhood that is going through. So you also have the politics involved in that. So as the MOD gets set up, the first thing that we do is that Ed here brings all of our back advocacy group, and they get on bicycles and they run all of these proposed changes and closures. Once that takes place, all of your comments were taken into consideration, they are put on a plan, and then the commissioners look at it. So we want to make sure that there's absolutely no political outcome, but we need to maintain safety, and safety is number one priority. So that's how the program.
I was actually going to the day of the event when it happened. You took me all the way back to how we get up and here, like this part of the same process.
Okay, great. So we're going to do 2 more questions because we want to make sure we get to the boards, which are the most important part.
Okay, a lot of people are asking about what you're going to do to maintain and grow tree canopy.
Okay, well, maintenance and growth of tree canopy. First and foremost, we're going to select trees that are very, very healthy. Again, native trees that will do well in the conditions that we have on the Underline, that also do well in urban conditions. We're not, we're not in a forest, we're not in a national preserve. We're next to the road. Once we select those trees, we're going to be planting them at a medium size. Why is that? Because trees need a chance to adjust to their locations. That's going to guarantee that they will grow very well and very healthy. And then we will have a team organized by Friends of the Underline who will be managing those trees, making sure those limbs are trimmed so that nothing falls from the bike rack, and we are able to ensure safety throughout.
I just want to add something. 30,000 plants and trees were added in Brickell backyard.
And that's just a half mile. Phase 2, 100,000 plants and trees in 2 miles. Our master plan called for 4,000 trees alone. And when done, this project will be adding almost 500,000 plants and trees. And I think all of you should be very proud of that.
So everybody, the realities is that every effort is being made to actually populate this with trees, landscaping, understory, and everything else. But we do have a guideway above us, and that guideway requires safety zones. If you drive along your Swan, you're gonna see all of these trees that are now completely leaning towards the road because we continue to chop those trees, and things that is grown and let wild. So this team is very good at selecting the right tree with the right height and maintaining our safety requirements for our landscape. So.
My numbers didn't change. No.
Okay, so the last question, you all had such amazing programming, I guess I'm just gonna read a few. Lots of requests for food and beverage, cafes, meetups for teenagers. I love meetups for teens, but the question is, what are we gonna do to activate the areas and consider a very, just how do we keep the area active once it's open?
That's a really big question, and I want all of you to do something over here to tell us how you want to program it. The Underline is lit. Currently, the end path is not. And it's activated 24 hours a day. I don't think we've gotten into what we're doing in Brickell Backyard. We have 24-hour security in Brickell Backyard. They are not armed. They're really more ambassadors to the community. And if you come out and use the Underline, you're activating it. And it was a dead space before, and it's vibrant, right? So the best way to activate is people using it, but we're programming 1 out of every 3 days. Half of our team's not here today because they're managing 4 events in Brickell Backyard right now. So tell us what you want, we'll do our best to bring it to you, but use the facility. That's the best way to activate it.
Just one final comment. We are coming to you, as Isabel said 3 times. This is the first time we will see you. We will come back at 45% with the design in progress. And then when we come back at 90%, then we will also have there a presentation about the construction. I know that now we don't have that many questions about construction, but you will at 90%. We will bring the 90% design ready to implement, and then we'll blend into what the construction plan is going to be. So that will be our 3rd meeting.
Okay, and with that, we're ready to have some fun. Here's a deck of all the questions you asked. If your question was not answered, we do have it, we'll review it. Please take the survey. There's an email address there as well where you can ask questions or submit more suggestions. Now for the boards, we have Basil over here. Raise your hand. We'll be distributing stickers for the program activities board. Over there we have Jeff and Samuel. Raise your hands. They will be distributing stickers for the spaces board. And back here, Alejandro. Raise your 2 hands. He's managing all the maps, so please tell us what you